All right, hey, welcome back. Ronin Man here. Today we're going to do a book review. This is the first in a series of reviews on the same book. It's going to be the book is The Predatory Female, which you can see in the link below. You can see the link to the PDF, and you can also purchase from Amazon, which I highly recommend because this book is so awesome that I don't get a commission for selling this book. I just think this book is so important, and it changed my life in so many ways. I got this book when I was 26 years old, and I'm 52 now. So half of my life, and more than half of my adult life, this book has been a key tool for me. It's been almost like an explorer has got his compass, I've got my compass, and that's this kind of book. And then there's a couple other books, but when I go back to it, I don't totally trust it. I also look at my own judgment. I'm going to look at the terrain myself.
Yeah.
I've totally digested the book in my life, and often I don't even know where the book starts and I end, or where I start with the book ends, because so many of the ideas were so true that I incorporated them. And then now I find myself talking to you and saying things in the book, and then I go back and read it, and I said, oh, that's straight from the book, right? That's why that's where I got the idea originally, right? Yeah. So either way, so today we'll do this first episode is on what is the predatory female. So yeah.
So just before we dive right into it, I just want to say that as a young guy, I just read this book yesterday, and I'm completely blown away. I mean, I thought that I got the red pill a few years ago when I started learning and reading books and stuff like that, specifically about women. But this book, I felt like was a red pill in like a whole new level, in the way that it shook me and it made me question a lot of things. So when I read this book, I was just blown away, and a lot of things, by knowing you, Ronin Man, just started clicking. I really started to see like what he was saying, and just in a better way. And this book really affected me, because as I read The Predatory Female, I was like, oh shit, like these things, I can see it in my life, I can see it in my relationship, I can see it in my previous relationships, I can see it in my parents, like my friends. It just all made sense.
Right.
And this is one of those books that it's going to take me time to digest. So it's so powerful, and it impacted me so much that I would say that I'm still in shock. I would say that I still need time to process this. And as we go through this today, like Ronin Man has a mature view of it. It's sort of internalized in him. But for me, what you're going to see is I'm kind of shocked. I'm just still like not sure. And I have my notes here, and I have like a bunch of things. But this book just like changed my life in a way.
Right. Like you didn't even sleep, right? I get this message in the middle of the night that you're reading the book. I was like, that's exactly the way. And it reminded me of how important it is to do this, because I've seen a lot of people talk about the red pill. People talk about seeing life the way it is what they're saying, right? Like in the Matrix. But they don't. I just don't feel like there's very many things that actually lay it out for you. Like what are women, and as far as to us, right? I think women are different. If you look at them as a societal standpoint, this interview, we're going to talk about this book review. We're going to talk about how it affects you as a single guy, and what the women want to do to you, and the way they are built, and it's almost regardless of how nice they are. So I think that's another thing. This is stuff that they can't even help. It's so deep in them, and they don't even understand it. They don't even know themselves why they do things. Much like a dog will do a certain thing, and then it's an instinctual thing, right? He has a mating ritual that he does, right? And same with people. And so a lot of this stuff, and I don't want to get the idea that this is, in any sense, anti-anything. It's just like we're studying what are females to men. And I say this all the time, but men and women are, it's the war of the roses, It really is like love and relationships. It really is much more of a war than people ever even start to realize. Is that you're trying to protect yourself and get the best things for you. She's trying to get the best things for her. And even if this is not in the book, but when they study babies and women's when they're pregnant, the baby is actually trying to kill the mother.
Really?
Yeah, the baby's trying to suck all the good vitamins up. And then the woman will let him suck a lot of the vitamins, but then they start to fight back because they lose all the power, right? Really? Yeah, so it's like a fight to the end. And when they finally kick the baby out, it's a huge relief to their body, because this other being is trying to suck their life out of them. Wow. It really is. It's the baby and the woman even are in a war, physically, like to the death. Like the baby's trying to get everything it can, right? these are the realities of life that people don't even think about in our modern age. You go to Starbucks, you can't, why are women so tired when they're pregnant? It's a huge stress on their body, and they feel it, And so it's not judgment here or there, whatever. So it's not just women. This is life itself. We're looking at very deep principles here. So, have an open mind. Realize that you also have deep things that you don't understand, right? And we're trying to figure this whole thing out, right? So in this case, it's from a guy's perspective on relationships, right? So what questions do you have about what is the predatory female? What would you say after reading the book last night?
So I would just want to say that I suddenly started seeing things in women that were really portraying them as the predatory female, and I just wanted you to define, maybe for the people listening to this, what is the predatory female and how you can see it in women, like specific things. Because I have a list, but I want to hear you first.
I don't really think in like definitions, but I'd love to hear what your list is and then riff off of that maybe.
Okay.
But basically, women are not out for your best interests. Yeah. That's the main thing. It's like you have to be out for your best interests. Mm-hmm. Women are not there. They're not your mother. They're not there to support you for everything. They're trying to get something. Yeah. And they have a very limited time to do it. Women don't have an unlimited clock, right? So they're having to get it in that window, right? Yeah,
men are very different,
Right. So it really is like, for them, it's if they end up 35 and single, you can get married after that. People do get married even 70 years old. I mean, it's possible. But if you talk to any single women, it's very depressing. It's very hard after they're a certain age, you know. I've had many honest discussions with women about this. Yeah. And like, I remember when I was younger and somebody, my girlfriend's mother told me, and my girlfriend was super hot, right? This girl was insanely hot. And her mom was hot too, right? Her mom was totally sexy. Like I wanted to fuck her mom. She even said she was really playful. She goes, "You should fuck my mom." She was really cool. Yeah, this girl. And I was like, well, I'll just get one of my friends to date her, And then I realized, and she said, no, she said, I'm, whatever age she was, I think she was 36. She said, guys just don't look at me anymore. And then I started asking my friends, hey, I've got my friend's mom. She's super hot. Nobody wanted to date her. And I was like, that was the first time I realized.
Was the mom
36?
The mom was 36,
yeah.
Really? And nobody wanted to date her?
No. She had her daughter when she was like 17. So the daughter was like 19. So, it was pretty harsh reality, It's girls are also in a tough situation, right? They've got to get what they've got to get. But let's go on to what's your list, and I'll riff off that. It's probably the best way.
Sure. So it all starts with the basic definition of what you said. Like, the girls don't want your best interest. As hard as it is, it's like a difficult pill to swallow. They want their best interest, and their best interest from an evolutionary standpoint is to survival. Survival means like having kids, I would imagine, and like just continuing the human species, right? So they want to have kids at any price, but what they also need is they need someone to help them, protect them while they're pregnant, while they raise their kids. They just need someone just to be stable, right? You hear that thing that people say, like, I just want someone who's stable. And in a way, they don't even want you that much. They want your kids more. And I think we can see that in married relationships or like in families where the woman cares a lot. I feel as if the woman, this is an opinion, she cares a lot more about the kids than she does about the husband as time goes by, and he's sort of left in the background. So the predatory female is just trying to do everything she can, which is very manipulative, to get a guy to sleep with and then raise the kids with. And she's just extremely manipulative because she doesn't have the power that the guy has. She's going to get pregnant. She doesn't want to necessarily work. She want to raise the kids. So she doesn't.
I got you on that. Hit me on your notes, the notes you took off the book.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's really good, like the specific.
So one is like the isolation, for example, that we can riff off on.
Okay, so isolation. So isolation is, it's basically divide and conquer. So if I want to, let's say that I'm Russia and I want to win a war of ideas or a real fighting war, shooting war in Europe to get something that I want. What I would prefer to do is to separate the EU into different countries, so I can attack. So each one I can, target them individually, right? So that's the exact same thing that women do. So when they are dating you, they're slowly trying to get other guys out of your life, whether they're friends or brothers or whatever it is, they want to slowly just where every relationship, and if you think about it in your life, you just start with all these friends, and then you have this girlfriend, and then it's like 6 months later, there's less friends.
Yeah.
They're just like more distant, right?
Yeah.
They're just farther away, and then the farther and the closer, and then finally, it's just you and her.
Yeah.
And that's the point where you're really screwed, because you've kind of pushed your friends away. So when you're uncomfortable with her, when she does something, dangerous or something that you really don't like, it's really tough because you don't have somebody that you can just reach out to. She's effectively isolated you from the things that can protect you, and the wisdom that you have of your friends, and things like that. She will just slowly try to cut them out. But they do it very, very smart.
Very manipulative.
Yeah.
Under the surface, like you cannot see that shit coming.
Yeah.
It's just so subtle.
I remember one girlfriend when I would have a friend over, and then he would come over, and then she would say, he's not really your friend. He doesn't really like you, And the thing is, women are really smart, right? So she would usually pick somebody that it was pretty much true. Right, like there was a grain of truth to that for sure. That she was saying it's not your best friend, and that was true. But I actually got a lot from that guy anyway, even though he wasn't the best friend of mine, because we did things together that were fun. We had a certain things we did together were different than other friends. And I enjoyed that what we did. Like one guy, we play a certain game together. Right, he always plays this one game, so. It's fun. I get to exercise and we play, and then it doesn't really matter, and like golf, I like to play golf. Some of my friends always want to play golf, right? It doesn't really matter if they're great friends, right? But she would slowly like cut these guys out, and just one by one, just kind of take them farther out. And then for me too, like I always have old girlfriends, and my old girlfriends always still like me. So they're still friends with me, right? So, so that some girls are pretty cool with that. But a lot of girls are very not cool with that, right? So they really want to find out who are these, which one is which, like which one is your old girlfriend. Then they want to talk to them, and then just
really?
Kick them out, right? Just to just diss them, right? So make sure she's not influencing your decision. You don't have that as a resource and an ally and a resource to go to, because my old girlfriends, they know me very well, so I can ask them like, what do you think about this? And they'll say, oh, that would be good for you because you really love this. You say this, but you actually love this. And I'll be like, you're right. That's awesome. My old girlfriends often are very good for me. Once I'm out of the relationship, I don't find them trying to manipulate me at all. Like I don't see that. It's only when they're trying to get me. It's when they're trying to marry you. They're not out there manipulating all the guys. And in fact, I think they become kind of my supporters afterwards. Where they're quite my fan. Like they're really like.
They want to get away.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, go for it. You go.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the ones that are still friends and we're good friends.
What about the don't? Does it sometimes like not work? Are there ones that don't want to be your friends afterwards and just like?
There are, but few. Yeah,
Most
few.
of them are okay.
Most of them are okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them will still want to meet up, and the way I look at it, this is not part of the book, but the way I look at it is, if I liked somebody before, why would I suddenly hate them now? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I loved some girl before, it doesn't make sense that I would suddenly hate her. It's a very irrational, amateur, lame viewpoint. Like, no, of course, they had a lot to offer me then, and if I put myself in a position where I'm very weak and I let them manipulate me. See, part of the reason why I can do this is because I know these stuff. I don't let the girls get me.
Right?
They don't get me in a situation where I'm super weak and angry, right? Because I'm in control of my life, and they join my life. But then when we leave, it's like I'm okay. I'm fine. So it's like that's why I don't feel angry at them, and that's why I can be friends with them. You know what I mean? If I let them steal from me, if I let them hurt me, then I feel angry and I can't be friends with them, right? So so it's the key thing is protect yourself, and actually most girls in the end, they appreciate that.
Yeah,
they really.
Wow. Okay. The next trait of the predatory female, so that one we covered right now, was just like the isolation, which is very powerful because it's so subtle. Another one that's very subtle and powerful is the chameleon, which just like changes.
Ooh.
Right? It is so powerful. So I just want to say, I just want to ask you about this trait of the predatory female, the chameleon, and how it manifests in 1,000 different ways.
Okay, the chameleon. Oh man, this is a good one. Women are natural chameleons. They really are. They really, really are. And I don't mean that in any negative sense.
Yeah,
any women are listening. You know, like women are very flexible. You know, and so any situation. So what tends to happen as a guy, if you, let's say that I like to surf. Okay, so like I like to surf, right? So what happens is my girlfriends, they all of a sudden like the beach. You know, they never went to the beach before. I talked to them, they never talk about the beach, you know, there's no pictures of the beach, you know. And then all of a sudden they go with me to the beach one time, and then they have a great time, and then they want to go to the beach all the time. Next thing you know, they're buying a surfboard and they're learning how to surf, you know, and or they're like really enjoying going to the beach. You know, some of them surf, some of them just swim. Other ones really like to go to the beach and collect shells, and it becomes a big thing in their life. And they just naturally fit into whatever you're doing. So they're chameleons. You know, and the chameleon is not a bad creature, right? You know what I mean? That's just the way the creature is. When he gets near green grass, he turns green.
Yeah.
And then when he gets near brown wood, he turns brown.
Yeah.
Right? He gets near a gray rock, he turns gray. It's not like he's not trying to hurt anybody, or that's just the way his body is. That's his defense. And women, they tend to adjust to whatever the man is doing. So if the guy is a hippie, next thing you know, they're at Coachella together. Okay. Right? And then, you know, next thing is she's wearing tie-dye all the time. Right? You can see it a million times, you know. Yeah. And then if the guy's a businessman, the next thing you know, she's like going to like networking events in Silicon Valley, and she's all interested in programming and, you know, this kind of thing, you know. And it's part of it is, I think women are very open-minded. So they see it as an opportunity to learn new things when they see a guy, you know, especially if they like him, you know. But what happens from the guy's perspective is it doesn't come across that way. What it comes across is, I found the perfect woman. You know, it's like, this woman is exactly what I always wanted. She loves sex, you know. She's open-minded. She likes girls, you know, and she's bi, you know, and she likes to read books, and she likes audiobooks, and she likes to take walks, and she likes to surf. And you think, that's just like me. That's, you know, this girl's perfect, right? And it's very subtle. But for a guy who is basically trying to be single, essentially, men are not looking to get married, right? It's very powerful, because you think, well, dang, this girl's super cool. She has all the things that I like to do, she likes to do, you know? And like, why not, right? That's a perfect life partner. That's what you're looking for, right, as a guy. You know, you don't want a girl who's like totally different than you, and, you know, she doesn't like doing what you do, you know? It's like, you know, she always likes to wear nice dresses, expensive gowns, and you're like a farmer, and you're into like, you know, a biologist splitting seeds, and you want to live in the countryside, or you're interested in Tibet architecture and you want to live in the mountains, and she wants to live in New York City, right? It doesn't work, right? So women just naturally are chameleons with what guys' hobbies and guys' everything from the way you talk and the things you do, and that just hits you right in the heart, man, as a guy. You know, don't you feel that way? Have you ever had that?
Yeah. And also, like, I want to add from the book, they say that they stay a chameleon until they get married. And then they sort of like naturally relax, because now they got what they want. And this is going to sound a bit negative. And again, I'm trying not to be negative towards anyone. It's just the way they're built. Once they're married, once they sort of have a man, they can sort of relax, because they finally have him. So slowly they become less of a chameleon. And you can see it with women that maybe they gain weight over time, or maybe they don't take care of themselves as much. You can see that something changes. And it's just because maybe as a chameleon, in the book at least, in the book, The Predatory Female, he says that being a chameleon takes some sort of effort for them. It's not who they are. And then he says that once they get married, they sort of revert to their natural state. So that is, they're not doing it on purpose, but it is manipulative, because
it's temporary too.
It's temporary, yeah, exactly. And you can see it with couples. Like, look at a married woman and then look at her 10 years ago, and especially like also her, not especially, but also her personality. She changes. And they say that, like in the book, they say that women have 5 faces. He says the face when you meet her, then the face when you date her, then the face when you marry her, and then the face when you divorce her, and then the 5th one I forget.
But yeah, it's true. These are very, very different people.
Yeah, they're completely different.
Very, very different people. You know, I know I had one very bad situation with a girl, and I'll talk about it in another podcast. But one girl that every guy gets got. Okay, there's no guy that never gets got. I got once, and then after was interesting for me because when she was with me, she was always interested in everything I was interested in. And when she left me, I couldn't believe how much she changed. I'm used to it. Like, you know, I'm used to girls changing, but I mean, this was like night and day. You know what I mean? She's like, you know, like we built a business together for years and working super hard. And the next thing you know, she's like moving to a small island, wearing hippie clothes, just doing yoga, and like not caring about business, not wanting to make money. And of course, she had money that she got from me, but she was completely. Her real self was nothing like what she was presenting to me. Wow. It was, you know, so some girls are worse than others, what I'm saying. Yeah. And some girls, the chameleon stuff is more, what do you call it? Like cognitive. They're aware. You know, they're aware that they're tricking you, right?
Even the makeup.
And daily makeup. Exactly. Well, that's the thing in the book too, right? The makeup is designed to manipulate and to deceive. And that's what people forget because we're so used to it. That we think that women wear makeup, guys don't. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. Women manipulate and guys don't. You know, so it's like as a guy, you see the makeup and you're like, oh yeah, she looks different with the makeup on, but you always think you're too smart. It's not going to work on me. I know what she looks like when she takes it off. But that's what I'm saying is if you were so smart, if guys were so smart, we wouldn't need to learn any of this stuff. But guys go, no matter how smart guys are, they all go down the toilet. Yeah. You know, and they just manipulated by some girl. And next thing you know, they're broke and divorced and in miserable situation and supporting some kid and, you know, just really somewhere they don't want to be. And then, but they were so smart. I think part of change and part of it, you know, really coming to grips with yourself is to really admit that you're not as smart as you thought you were. Like that these girls are very, very powerful.
They are predators.
Yeah. They're predators. That's right. They're predators. And that's the perfect name for the book. Yeah. Women are predators and we are prey. When it comes to marriage. Yeah. Not according to everything, but when it comes to marriage, women are predators and we're prey. And that's very important. That's exactly why he used the word. And we don't never think that way. And that's what this book really lays clear is that the woman is a predator when it comes to getting married and having kids.
Yeah, and also like another thing that stuck with me in the beginning of the book, he talks about how much society is actually pro-women and against men. And you can see like when you get married, you give away half of your stuff, half of your property to the woman you're married. And when it comes to kids and children, if you divorce, then the woman has the right over the kids, usually, like most of the time. So basically, like we live in a society, like if somebody says like men are stupid, then it sounds not nice. But if you say women are stupid, then people are going to get a lot more pissed at that. So he was just talking about how society is actually against men and very pro women, and how once you get married, then basically you lose half of your things. You don't really own them, and even your kids. Like he has a quote in the book. He says, "You can never have children. You can only father them, but you can never own your children. Your wife or the mother owns them, and she can have the rights over them, and there's not much you can do about it from a legal standpoint because society is pro-women. So she gets the kids, she gets half of your stuff." It's just really scary.
Right, and we'll talk about that one in the next podcast. Is from a society perspective. Yeah. But from a like a female perspective, like what is the predatory female? She's part of it, but she's only a small part of it. There's this whole system against you. And it's not just something somebody made up since like 200 years ago. We're talking thousands and tens of thousands of years tens of thousands of years of women manipulating men to support their babies. And we're just in the modern incantation of that. You know, human beings have been over 100,000 years. We're basically the same intelligence, same type of thing. We haven't changed much in 100,000 years, right? If we were playing football against a guy 100,000 years ago, it would be a pretty fair fight. Now you get farther back, and then they're not going to be as smart, and they're going to have different, maybe stronger. There'll be different characteristics, but this has been going on for a long time because women need babies to survive. They always have. So there's a lot of deep, heavy stuff that's going on, and I think it's important to know that there's these dark undercurrents of a system that was set up that everybody subconsciously understands that it's not for men, but they kind of think, well, it's for babies, so that's important. That's more important than men. So we'll get into that one in the next podcast. But is there anything else on the actual females themselves?
So it was like basically the notion that if she cannot catch you, if she cannot marry you, or if she cannot have kids, she goes through that point where she had enough, right? She's like, she just understands you're not the guy that's going to settle down, and then she leaves you.
Right. What she's doing, and so this is what was very confusing for me, because I've talked about it before. I've dated, I've slept with, I don't know, between 600 and 900 girls.
Crazy number.
Yeah, but what I got from that was some massive wisdom, because I saw so many different types of female behavior, in there that I'm not talking from theory. Like I'm actually like, I can remember this girl did that girl did that, and I hope I can bring that experience, that wisdom to bear on there. But essentially what they're doing is they are playing, we're playing the short game, right? We're not only about sex, but we're just thinking about right now, basically. Yeah. Some people say it's just sex and right now, but I think it's a lot more than that. It's companionship. It's, it's social proof to your parents. It's somebody to go out with. It's someone, like your friends can see. There is some kind of fun playing house with girls, and, just kind of, doing new things and checking things out. And, there's stuff you enjoy besides just pure sex, right? There's a ton of stuff, right? And then sometimes they have a lot of wisdom for us to give. I can tell you this, in the middle of this, predatory female broadcast, I'll say that girls helped me a lot in my life, in business and in, and understanding myself and everything. They have been my companion at the same time. So when you think about this, you have to really look at it from a mature perspective. If I put this into black and white, that maybe is easy to understand, but it's not true. So that's the problem, is life is complex. So you got to put on your big boy pants here and big girl pants and really realize the complexities of these whole things, because I have a lot of gratitude for women at the same time, right? But it's like you say. And so when it comes to marriage, and when it comes to me and marriage and you and marriage, they're playing the long ball and you're playing the short ball. So, you think, what do I have to do to get her to do this? Like I want to do this. I want to go pick up another girl and do a threesome with two girls, right? Or I want to take her to this certain place, and I want to do something, whatever, And she is thinking, okay, the short-term stuff doesn't matter that much. Long-term, right? Is this guy going to be a good husband for me? Is he going to be good for me? And so a woman will easily pay for, like, say, flights to Bali or something, or take you on a trip to somewhere where you're away from your family, somewhere where you're feeling super euphoric, somewhere where your relationship can blossom. I know if you have friends that travel, I don't want to say who this is. I was almost slipped there, but somebody I know had a very, very like tempestuous relationship, or whatever. I don't know the word, but they were fighting all the time, always fighting. Like they're always broken up, and they're always like broken up forever. Then they're having makeup sex, and it was like super on and off, right? Well, then she talked him into going around the world together, and then when they went to the Taj Mahal in India, of course he proposed to her, right? Even though they like almost broke up like 10 times on the trip, but that was his weak point. And like he was looking at the Taj Mahal. It's so beautiful, and here she is, and just like boom, and that she got him right at that moment. So a woman will think long term. She's thinking like, what can I? So like I remember a lot of women would pay for things for me. Would do a lot of nice things for me. Somebody bought a motorcycle for me. Somebody, did a lot of nice things for me. And it's like, I would always think like, why are they doing this? But what they're doing is they're investing in you. They're investing in you for the future. Yeah. So it's like a stock. It's like they see you as a future earning machine. Yeah. So they're like, if I put out like say $5,000 on this guy, to a woman it's not a big deal because she can get that money from another guy easily. Really? Right? Oh yeah. If she's got debts or whatever, she tells her new boyfriend, and he pays them off, right? It's super easy to get some guy to pay your debts off or whatever as a woman, right? And So when she invests in you, she might even be investing some other guy's money in you, you know?
Wow,
like, yeah,
shit.
yeah, it probably is some other guy's money, whether
Shit.
it's her dad's money or her ex-boyfriend, her current boyfriend, her husband's money, whatever it is, that she sees you as a good investment, right, in the future. Now, I don't mean that it's just like a stock and she doesn't care about you, but she sees much farther. She's seeing the long ball with you. And then we just are not taught to see the long ball with women. You know, we just don't. We want to sleep with them, right? And we want it now, and we want to be happy. And then if something else happens, okay. But it's like we're not planning it, right? We're just like kind of happens to us. So basically, we're just like sitting ducks. You know, we're like the sheep, and they're like the wolves. And I think a lot of maturity or improving yourself is accepting that you're not always the smartest guy and that you're not always the most powerful in the world. Because if you think you always are, you will certainly be the weakest. You know, because you're not. You know, women are very powerful in certain situations, and accepting that and realizing your weakness is actually your strength, because that allows you to work on it, right? Whereas if you say, hey, I'm too smart for that, this girl's not going to get me. Yeah. She's going to get you, you know, and you can't talk to anybody, you know everything, you know. So those are the faces, and those faces, man, geez, the face of the divorce. We should actually put the notes actually below the video of the exact faces. I don't know if you wrote them down. I don't remember what they were now.
I remember the one that I forgot also is the fifth face.
Yeah.
So let me go over the faces again. So there's the face when you first meet her the first time. Then you have the face when you're dating. Then you have the face when you're moving together, I believe. And then you have the face when you're getting married. And then you have the face when you divorce. And those can be completely different women. Like those can be like in the book. Imagine sometimes divorced guys, they say, my wife is completely different now. And that because she might be, because they have these faces and sometimes you don't see them. Now, this can be a bit upsetting, but it really is true if you think about it. Like I think about my relationship, and yeah, there are different faces, and I'm just a young guy, so I didn't see many of them. But definitely see them. I would add that there's another face, like I would add a sixth face, which is the face when, like, so you marry her, right? And then you have a face when she has kids. And I think when this is more subtle, maybe it's less sudden, but I think once she has kids, you sort of go further down in her list of priorities, just because she cares about survival, right? Survival of human race. So she doesn't care about you as much, especially as the kids grow older. I think your part is a little bit done. And it sounds really sad, and I don't mean that anybody's bad, but that's kind of sad. That's something that I've been thinking about. And
yeah. I mean, just think about it rationally. You know?
Yeah,
like,
rationally, exactly.
Just think about these things rationally. Like if you want to have let's just say dogs. Okay, so you have a mother dog, right? And then the female dog, and then the female dog needs a male dog, and then they have sex and they mate, and then there's puppies. Now, if you just took those puppies and threw them out in the backyard, they're gonna die. Mm-hmm. They need the mother, right? Mm-hmm. But then after a while, those puppies they get older, they don't need the mother, and they're out on their own, they're adults running around. So it's just a natural thing in nature, and it's the same with the husband. Really, essentially, after he gives them the babies, if she lives in a country like Sweden where the government takes the role of the man, then she doesn't even need you right after that. After you impregnate her and she has the baby, and you emotionally help her through that, right? Mm-hmm. After that, she doesn't really need you because the government will support the kid. You know, so the government becomes the role of the man, and the government is actually the enemy of any guy who wants to be a husband. You know, if somebody really does want to play that role of a father and husband, if a government's giving money, that destroys the family because the man is not necessary. Yeah. And the woman will always go to who the man is. And in this case, the man is the government. The man's giving, that's why so many inner city families break up, because they get money from the government for having kids. So then the man's not necessary. So the woman just tosses him out. She doesn't need him.
Yeah.
She's got a man. She's got her man. It's down at the place where she gets her check.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what country we're talking. We're not talking about any kind of people. We're talking about Sweden. Sweden is one of the worst because the government is so supportive of women to have kids without being married.
Oh, really?
I lived in Sweden, for 4 months, and I tell you, man, it's really amazing. That's why they have the highest, I believe it's the highest single women in the world with babies. Single mothers, yeah. They're very, very high for sure. I don't know if it's still the highest in the world, but it's very high. Scandinavia in general, because the government takes the role of the husband. You know, so whether that's good or bad, you know, it affects you as a man. Because when you're not needed, you feel it. And that's the other thing we're going to talk about later is what is a man. So a man is much more sensitive than we think. We think we're so tough, you know, and the women are so weak. It's the exact opposite when it comes to the relationship and the sexes. Yeah. You know, we evolved to be strong and to be able to take care of ourselves and gather meat and things like that, right? It's been said a million times, but it's true. We had to get food, right? Women, their job was to get the man to do the food for them so they could sit in the cave and raise the babies, right? So they're very, very strong emotionally, and they can tear us apart emotionally. Wow. Your girlfriend can tear you apart. If you start telling her these ideas, she can rip you to shreds. Yeah. So if there's any advice I say on this end of this, the first podcast is about the predatory female is do not talk to people about this yet. Yeah. You know, read the book. The book's in the link below, and start to take notes, start to leave comments, and let's talk about it, because this is a very heavy thing. Nobody has all the answers. Yeah. I read this book 26 years ago. I've read it many, many times. I've taught this book to many, many people, but I still have so much to learn, because we're talking about human beings here. We're talking about the complexities of life, which are super complex, right? Wow. You know?
Yeah. Something else that I want to add is really powerful is he talks about in the book. He says you're allowed to think whatever you want to think in the relationship, as long as it doesn't hurt her or her opinion in any way. So you can think whatever you want to think, but if you think something that hurts her position in the relationship, then it's just not cool. It's just not okay with her. And I can give you an example. So like one time I was talking to someone I was dating, and we were talking about marriage, and I was like, oh yeah, like if I'll ever get married, I want to get an agreement that we, like a prenup, basically, where I don't give my money if we divorce. And that girl is a lovely girl, but the moment that I said it, she was just like, no, that's not okay. And she completely used sort of guilt and a bit of manipulation to make me change my mind. She was like, no. She's like, no, that's not cool at all. And suddenly I saw that, like, oh shit, like there are some things that you just can't really talk about with her. Like if she doesn't agree with something, it's something that's very relevant to her, and it's just not for her interests, then she's not interested in it, because it doesn't make sense for a girl to get a prenup, right? It just doesn't make sense. Why would she do that? Then all of her investments, all of her stocks, all of her time with you, how is she going to raise the kids or stuff like that? It just doesn't make sense. So like everything is okay. You're allowed to have your opinion until it doesn't follow along with her opinion, and then you're in real trouble.
Well, it's more than opinion. I mean, you're talking about her. She's making an investment in you, and she wants it to pay off. Yeah. It's hard, cold reality here. Yeah. She wants that money. Yeah. She wants that money. Yeah. You know, that money is what she needs. You know, whether it's for her babies or whether it's for herself, whether it's for her mother or, you know, for a nicer house. She wants that freaking money. And when you say that you're going to, you know, talking about a prenup, you're basically that's why she got riled up. It wasn't because it was a difference of opinion. This was her security. You were saying like you were basically calling her on it. Yeah. And she was like, and she came, her real self came out there.
Yeah, she gets so pissed.
Yeah, of course.
She gets so pissed.
It's like, why would I be with you if you're not going to get that money?
Yeah, it's like, why would you invest in the stock market if you're not going to get a return on it?
Right. You're going to risk all this money and then you don't get any return, right?
Yeah, and it's like time.
I hate to say this kind of stuff, and I mean, I know that I am really welcome any kind of debate and on this stuff, but this is the reality of a lot of relationships. And
just straight up, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
It's just straight up. And if you have any doubt, go talk about prenups with your girlfriend and see what the reaction is. Yeah. Yeah. Like if you really think it's not true, go ahead and write one up, you know, have a lawyer, and then go show it to your girlfriend and see how she treats you. See what the reaction is, you know. If you don't think it's all about, you know, like about money. And let me just say one thing is sure. I want to say there's one thing that I really want to add in here that's important. A lot of MGTOWs talk about money. They talk about living, like a simple life and not giving women your money, right? And a lot of pickup artists, PUAs, say it doesn't matter about money. Girls don't want your money. You can pick up any girl, no matter if you're rich or poor. And it's about approaching and having the right mindset and having confidence and going in and getting that girl. And I want to say these are both true.
Both.
These are both true. Very, very both true. So the thing is that what they are doing is, what we're talking about now is the provider role. The provider role has to provide. Okay, now, but the sex-worthy guy, he is the one that she wants to have fun with. She wants to explore things with. She wants to come. She wants to explore the sexuality of her life with. So it's you're playing a different role when you these two things are both true. So a lot of life is just deciding which one do you want to be, right? I want to be the sex-worthy one, right? That's for sure. I never want to be the provider, ever. And that's what I want to warn people in this podcast, is I don't think many guys want to be the provider. I mean, if you had a choice, if I said there's 2 rooms you can go into, one of them has endless single, young, hot girls, hot tubs, lube. The girls are innocent. They're all virgins. You can't get a disease. They're very sweet. You get massages. You have a good time. And the next room is one girl sitting watching a TV that you could be married to, right? It's like almost any guy would go in the other room, right? But like it's often not presented that way, and guys don't see those 2 things, and they don't even imagine they can be that other one. So again, this is where my life experience comes in, and I say that these are both true. It depends on what you want in life, and I would say they're both true even for you, because even if you're married, right, you still will have girls who see you just as a sexual being, and you'll still have affairs and sleep with women where it's just pure sex. So you're not a provider. Like there's no P on your forehead, right? It's only temporary, and it depends on the girls, and it depends on how you present yourself and the deal that you negotiate with each girl, based on your value and how you present yourself and how you work it out, right? So we have many options in life. So I don't want to say like it's what I'm saying. It's more complex than just women are your enemy. It's like no, depends on which side you take and how you present yourself and what your ultimate goals are. I think a lot of MGTOWs, they always see themselves in another role, right? And a lot of PUAs see themselves in only picking up girls. But the problem with being a PUA, which is not in this book, but is that you get very good at meeting women. But what that does is that puts you at risk of meeting women and then being in a situation where you're being manipulated. And especially a pickup artist is very confident. And so, of course, he really dumbly walks into relationships because he's super confident, right? He had all these girls. He's like super, like he can do no wrong, right? He's like Superman, right? So, of course, he's like really set up for failure. So a lot of guys that are in my life, I've seen a lot of very, very cool guys in their 20s. They're the guys who ends up being the most slavish later.
Really? Jesus, that could have been me.
Yeah, because they run into, they're going into the lion's den without knowing it, right? With no protection, right? They don't have any protection because all they have is their ego and their pride and then and their ability. But the problem is once one girl gets you, it starts to squeeze the other ones out. And that's what happens to a lot of pickup artists, is they get in that same situation. So again, it's a mix. What do you want with your life? A woman is not one or the other. The predatory female is there if you're talking about marriage and children, right? And you'll have to deal with it even if you deal with the other one. So there you go. There's our first episode of what is women, what is a predatory female, and what are we, right? And so thanks for watching and listening, and I appreciate all the comments. I really do. This whole thing's starting to set on fire, and I feel excited like every day thinking about this, Yeah, you enjoying it?
Absolutely amazing. I'm definitely enjoying this, definitely.
All right, cool. All right, we'll catch you in the next episode, and thanks for subscribing to the channel. And again, please share, please like.
Read the book.
Yeah, read the book. Read the freaking book. It's in the comment, and if you want to give the money to the author, please purchase it from Amazon, and you can find the link in Amazon. I'm not selling the book, so go ahead and find it yourself. So thank you very much for listening. This is Ronin Man signing off. And what is a predatory female?